Hello, happy Sunday, everyone. I feel like I haven't done one of these videos in forever, even though it's only been a week. There's been a lot of energy moving through. I've felt like, we're really at the end of the birth canal, about to be rebirthed, at least here, because someone decided to start the calendar on January 1st. So even though our calendar is a little bit off, a lot off actually, compared to previous cultures and civilizations, we are moving at that end point, towards the end point where we will be rebirthed. And it's a bit psychological, it's also spiritual. So let's talk about what's going on this week. We have Jupiter moving into Pisces, which is super, super exciting. That is happening on Tuesday, depending on where you are. So it could be either earlier in the PM on Tuesday, or it's going to be later, depending on which coast you're on in the US. So we also have Mercury conjuncting Pluto on the 30th. Mercury is going to move into Aquarius on the 1st, so on New Year's Day. And then the following day is the new moon in Capricorn. And today, actually, we have Hygeia moving into Scorpio. So I believe it's already in Scorpio. So a lot of movement here, a lot of deep, dark goddess kind of healing. That's really the best analogy I can come up with, is just feeling like we're at that end point, about to be birthed, about to move into the light, which is kind of like Aquarius in a way. Okay, so let's get the chart up here. I will pull a few cards as well to see how this is all going to manifest for us. Okay. All right. So this is today, it is Sunday, it is the 26th, it is about 2 p.m. here. Let's just go to noon to make this a bit easier. All right, so today Hygeia, which is right here, moved into Scorpio. So Hygeia is one of the goddesses of health. She is more so Virgo energy health. So our daily day-to-day habits that contribute to our health, either helping or harming them. It's more of like Virgo-y, kind of like earth-based healing. So it can be, what are you eating? How much water are you drinking? Are you getting exercise? It can be like herbalism or like Ayurveda. It's really about like, what are those daily things that you are doing or not doing that are contributing to your health? So either helping or hurting it, or maybe even just maintaining it as well. So Hygeia moving into Scorpio, I think it's more so maybe going to teach us something about the extremes and how the extremes kind of serve us in a way and maybe teach us something, but how balance is really going to help us, finding the 0 point, finding the balance in our health, in our day-to-day activities, because extremes of anything are bad, right? Even if you exercise too much, your body is going to start breaking down. You're going to start breaking down your muscles, your psyche, maybe even. You know what, let me just make sure that I have the mic on, because I don't want to do the thing. Okay, yeah, we are good. The right mic anyway. Okay, so Hygeia moving into Scorpio. So how can our day-to-day activities help our Scorpio? So this is like the penetrating kind of energy. This could be like sexual health. This could be emotional health, dealing with our trauma or not dealing with our trauma. It can also be, what does it do to the body when you operate at extremes? The first thing that comes to mind for me being in recovery is addiction. And that is very much operating at the extremes in a very, very unhealthy way. What does that do to the body? It almost like makes you addicted to the extremes. And it's not just addiction of like drugs. It can be food or shopping or sex or literally anything. But like when we're in that state, when we're in like an addiction state, we kind of almost like, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but we almost kind of neglect or like shut off, in the case of drugs, like our frontal lobe in a way, or weaken it or damage it, because we're more so acting from like an animalistic instinct space. And that can be really said about any addiction. I don't know why we're going here, but we're just going to go here. So when we're in that state of being addicted to something and we start doing it day in, day out, it can definitely have negative consequences. And I just have a feeling that that's what this might bring up, Hygeia and Scorpio, because this is like everything in the subconscious, the underworld, and in our darkness, our shadows, especially with Pluto. that we don't want to necessarily look at. But if we do, then we can see how the things that we're doing or not doing every single day are affecting our overall health. The word hygiene actually comes from hygiene also. So hygiene too. Hygiene is not just taking a shower, brushing your teeth, even though those are very important, especially now in Capricorn season, because Saturn, which rules Capricorn, rules over the bones and the teeth, which makes sense, right? That's like the structure of our body, the skeleton. So that stuff is really important, of course, bathing, brushing your teeth, whatever, those little things. But hygiene is more than that. It's like, to me, it's like meditation as well, because that really is like hygiene for your mind and like your emotions and your soul in a way, your spirit. So it can also be like meditation. What do you do every day for your mental health? How do you take care of yourself emotionally day in, day out? So adding in like those kinds of things, I think will be really important right now and will help you navigate hygiene moving through Scorpio. And as you can see here, the South Node is in Scorpio now too. So that's really exciting. I love when I get clients, honestly, on the Taurus Scorpio axis. I think I just had somebody actually, but it was reversed. We're moving more towards Taurus, which is creating stability, creating roots, foundational roots. So I see Taurus as like the roots of the plant. And then I see Virgo kind of as like the trunk and like the growth of branches and the trunk and things like that. And then the leaves. And then I see Capricorn as kind of like the very top of like where we're trying to go of the tree. That's how I see the earth signs. So having our North Node, which is where we're heading as a collective, our destiny being in Taurus, we want to create our own foundation. We want to have something to fall back on. And a lot of times that ends up just being ourselves sometimes, if you're maybe a single parent or you don't have the kind of stable family structure or you didn't have that growing up. Sometimes Taurus can teach us how to be that for ourselves by working really hard, by sticking to our own values and making that the most important thing, what we value personally, and surrounding yourself with people who agree with those values or at least support you in that pursuit of solidifying those values. Does that make sense? Okay. So on Tuesday, Jupiter is going to move into Pisces. So Jupiter is here, is at the very end of Aquarius. And as I always say, when we're at the last degree of any planet in any sign, it's going to manifest as the extreme of whatever that placement is. So Jupiter being in Aquarius, this is like blown up rebellion, it's like the revolution, the American Revolution or something. It's wanting to break free and liberate ourselves in a very expansive Jupiterian way. So like wanting to be like liberated through the mind, our belief systems, maybe even liberated from the laws. I'm thinking of like Sagittarius in the 9th house laws. All of those like rebellious revolutionary ideas and things that we're doing right now, we want to be free, and Jupiter is going to take that energy and make it huge. So this is really like a time of liberation leading up to Tuesday. And once we get to Jupiter in Pisces, so let's move forward here. Days. So Jupiter is here at 29 degrees, 55 minutes. So let's move forward hour by hour. All right. There we go. So Jupiter is now in Pisces and I'm in Central Time here. Jupiter in Pisces is very, very different than Jupiter in Aquarius. Jupiter naturally ruled Pisces in traditional astrology. And I believe that the traditional planetary rulerships still apply. So like Scorpio is not just Pluto to me, and to most astrologers, I would guess. I don't know though, I can't speak for everybody. Scorpio is Mars and Pluto. So I think that Pisces is Jupiter and Neptune, and they have a lot in common as well. So Jupiter being in Pisces, it's a match made in heaven. Jupiter wants to be here, and it brings back something nostalgic, something very old and very ancient when Jupiter was the sole ruler of Pisces. So Jupiter being in Pisces, Jupiter is our growth. It's how we expand. It's how we learn, expanding the mind, body, and soul. So being in Pisces, the spiritualist, the mystic, the healer, Jesus. I just keep thinking about Jesus. that's kind of the energy of Jupiter and Pisces. So compassion, like really just growth and like attracting abundance and having the right doors open for you and meeting the right people by being compassionate towards yourself, towards others. So we definitely have been through the ringer with everything going on with Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, Jupiter in Aquarius. It's been intense. You know, Aquarius is great at like finding the problem and like just blowing the whole thing up. Not as much as Scorpio, I would say. Scorpio is like very ominous apocalypse, right? But Jupiter, I mean, not Jupiter, I'm sorry. Aquarius is more of like mental revolution that leads to like the big thing, that leads to like leads to the big breakaway, can't talk, and liberation from whatever the standard or the structure is. Getting into Pisces, it's very soothing. It's very healing, compassionate, understanding. I think we're going to be able to see each other eye to eye a lot better once Jupiter moves into Pisces. I am interested to see when it goes over my IC and how that all plays out. It sounds like it's going to be a good thing. Deep soul healing, deep compassionate healing of timelines, not just this one, past ones, future ones even. It goes very deep and it feels so soothing and wonderful and beautiful to me. Okay, so on Thursday, Mercury will conjunct Pluto. So this is Tuesday. Actually, let's talk about Wednesday real quick. And again, I have this set to where the closer the aspect is to being exact, in other words, the stronger the aspect is, the thicker the line. The sun in Capricorn will square Chiron. So here's the sun in Capricorn, and here's Chiron. So it's a bit after the fact here, or before the fact, I'm sorry. Why are we at 1 a.m.? I don't know how that happened. All right, sun, 8 degrees of Capricorn, and Chiron, 8 degrees of Aries. So these are both cardinal signs, so they square, which means they are in conflict with each other. Cardinal is initiating, leadership, especially in the case of Aries, entrepreneurship. Capricorn just wants to be at the top of that mountain first. They want to be there first. They're a cardinal sign. So the sun squaring Chiron, it's kind of setting the stage, I think, for what Jupiter and Pisces is going to show us and teach us, because this is bringing up old, deep soul wounds, irritations, things that trigger us. In Capricorn, we're going to be faced with that real harshly. Like it's really going to hit us, I think, of what those things are that we need to heal. And we also have Mars and Sagittarius forming a sextile to Saturn. So here's Mars. And then here is Saturn, 11 degrees, 11 degrees. So this is Sagittarius and Aquarius together. So Mars and Saturn together, they're trying to work together here. More so the archetypes of Aquarius and Sagittarius are trying to work together, because anytime Mars and Saturn get together, it can be really good because Saturn is able to like tame and control the Mars so that we can reach our goals like strategically and effectively and like actually get there and not get bored. But on the other hand, if it's more of like a frustrating energy, Mars just like hits that wall of Saturn like really, really hard. It feels really frustrating, and it can also be kind of like an explosion because we just want to push forward, and Saturn's like, no, you have to do this in a very specific way to get to your goals. So it's just kind of like a feeling of irritation, especially with Mars and Sagittarius. I could see this as feeling a little bit oppressive in a way, because we want to move forward. We want to expand our vision and reach our goals and explore and adventure. In Saturn and Aquarius, even though this is like the liberation from certain standards, I still feel, to me, it feels like a stuck energy. So the following day on the 30th, which is Thursday, Mercury will conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. So let's move forward here. Or no, let's go hours. All right. So as you can see, this is Mercury here, Pluto, 25 degrees, 53 minutes of Capricorn. So we're diving deep. We're diving into the dark recesses of the mind, but this is okay because we have Jupiter and Pisces. So we're going to dive into the pain wounds for sure, but Jupiter and Pisces is there to help us like really bring in those like infinite, beautiful, healing waters that is Pisces. So I see this as being very beautiful. On the 1st, so on the 31st, the moon will be in Sagittarius. And on the 1st, Mercury will enter into Aquarius. It's going to be a little bit late though, so depending on where you are again. I should have set it to 0 degrees Aries because this is making me really dizzy. I always forget though. Okay, so Mercury will move into Aquarius. Mercury wants to be in air signs, right? Mercury is how we think, it's how we talk, communicate, information, data that we take in, what we do with it, how we listen to others. Do we listen at all? Hearing ourselves speak. A really funny manifestation of a blocked Mercury, aka to me, a blocked throat chakra, is people who think that they're really good singers, but they're really awful. I'm just thinking of like American Idol and stuff. I mean, that's all TV, but people who just think they're really good at singing because like they don't hear themselves, that's like a throat chakra issue for sure, because the throat chakra is not just this, it's also like our ears and our mouths too. So Mercury being in the brilliant scientist Aquarius is a great placement. We'll be seeing things in a new way. Our perspectives will definitely shift. Maybe even the way that we talk will change. This makes me think of God, I feel like liberalism has such like a weird connotation, and conservatism, is that a word? Because politics or whatever, but one of the great sides of like liberalism, in my opinion, and this kind of gives me Aquarius energy, is changing our language so that we're not unknowingly perpetuating hateful and dysfunctional societal structures. That's how I feel about Mercury and Aquarius. It's like it's changing what we say, not because we're being told to, or, I don't know what else people think, but it's more so changing our language in a way to be more inclusive and to, not perpetuate, racism or, there's all kinds of things that you don't really think about with language that is rooted in some really gross, like hateful things. And that's something that you can look into, but that's how I feel about Mercury and Aquarius. So being more inclusive, being more liberal with our communication, and being more inclusive, open, welcoming. So opening the throat chakra, maybe changing our language a bit. Of course, everything gets taken too far as well. So that's kind of like the danger, especially with Neptune Pisces. We've really seen a lot of great ideas, a lot of great like liberal ideas just get so diluted and so confusing to where they don't make sense anymore. That reminds me of something actually in this planner that I have. It's the Llewellyn's planner. I like this. It's simple. It gives like the days of the retrogrades and the moons and things like that. And honestly, it's so easy just to like flip this open, look at that. They don't have like the asteroids or anything like that, but just like the major aspects and like planetary changes and the moon phases as well. They wrote something really funny about Neptune in Pisces. Where is this? They were kind of writing like a forecast and like kind of telling us where we are at astrologically. This is really cheap too. It was like $10 or something on the Llewellyn website. I've been trying to get things not on Amazon lately and like going to the actual like person who makes the thing. And I've been pleasantly surprised because a lot of times it's either cheaper or there's like free shipping or like all kinds of stuff. Okay, I can't find it right now. Maybe it wasn't this. I thought that it was this planner. Okay, I just did all that for nothing, but I do recommend this planner. Okay, here. Overview. I just want to read it because I thought it was really funny. Okay. They're talking about, okay. Neptune's entry into Pisces in 2011 marked the beginning of the woke era of social justice, which can sometimes take what starts out as an excellent idea and dilute it to the extremes. getting lost in the weeds to the point that basic facts of science are denied and the average person no longer understands what's going on. I thought that was so funny because like it really hits the nail on the head. At the same time, there's been a hyper focus on feelings and not wanting to hurt them at all costs. An example of these trends is when a leading British member of parliament, Dawn Butler, stated in 2020 that assigning a baby a sex of male or female at birth is, quote, dog whistle transphobia. Likewise, Jupiter in Pisces will bring an almost religious zeal to right fighting. Both Jupiter and Pisces can have a judgmental vibe. With the gas giant operating at full force, there is a risk that if you don't fall in line with the official virtuous narrative, you could be accused of wrongthink and shunned in an Orwellian manner straight out of 1984. On the positive side, Jupiter's straightforward optimism will go a long way towards diluting the murkier, more manipulative sides of Neptune. And they are talking about Jupiter and Pisces as well. So I thought that like really hit the nail on the head for like how that Neptune and Pisces, like I'm sure everyone thought it was going to be this like great healing, like pretty much what I'm saying about Jupiter. Oh, this great, like wonderful spiritual healing thing. But every planet has like its conscious and unconscious manifestations, right? It's light and it's dark. It's service to self, service to others kind of energy. And that can be true for like Jupiter and Pisces as well. But I do think that Jupiter is a bit more structured just because it has like the benefit of like Saturn being there, of like stopping it before that whatever idea gets like way too out there where no one knows what's going on anymore. While Neptune doesn't have that. Neptune can do whatever the heck it wants, basically. All right. So Mercury will move into Aquarius. This is a great time to write down your ideas, your brilliant, innovative, inventive, futuristic ideas, and maybe to start thinking about, you know, these changes that are happening in society. How can we take that a bit bigger and change things for a better future? Now, the danger with that I've really seen with Saturn moving to Aquarius, Jupiter being in Aquarius, that everyone has their own idea of like what a right society is. And it kind of sounds like what they're talking about here with right think. Everyone has their own truth. Everyone has their own idea of what right is. And that has something to do with South Node and Sagittarius, I think, too, because we've been so stuck on that and it just makes us very easy to manipulate by the powers that be. All right, on the 2nd, we have a new moon in Capricorn. So as you can see, the sun and the moon are pretty close. Oh my gosh, this is the worst. I'm sorry. 12 degrees, 37 minutes. Let's move forward minute by minute. Oh wait, we're already past it. That's the moon. Yes, astrology. 20, all right. Let's just make sure that's where it's happening. Okay, so it's gonna happen at 12 degrees and 20 minutes of Capricorn. So let's look at what the major aspects are. This whole planner is like a cheat sheet. Let's check it out. They do sell out too after a certain point. So it's just nice to like, again, just look at it and just kind of see what's going on each day. Okay, so Mercury is going to move into Aquarius. Depending on where you are at Eastern time, it will be at 2:10 a.m. So the moon in Capricorn will first square Chiron. So let's just talk Eastern time since we're here. So the moon in Capricorn will square Chiron at 7:30 a.m. So that's kind of like setting the theme of like what this new moon will feel like. It's squaring Chiron. So it's like we're doing the work. We're going in deep. We're finding the wounds. We're being triggered by Capricorn energy. So very harsh reality checks. And with Mercury entering into Aquarius, I could see this as like the revealing of truths, illusions and delusions crumbling, although we'll have to see with Jupiter and Pisces too. And then the moon in Capricorn will trine Uranus. So definitely having structures fall. I actually see this as I'm having a vision of like diving in deep to those soul wounds and like grabbing it and like maybe trying to pull it out a bit and heal it. And I see the moon forming this trine to Uranus as like, we're diving in deep to the wound, but we're also like literally just like destroying the faulty structures that have kept that wound exactly where it is, so that we can like just bring it all together and like heal that wound. It's kind of like blowing up a building so that we can like build something new. And then the moon will conjunct the sun at 1:33 p.m. Eastern time. And then the moon will sextile Neptune and Pisces, actually. So definitely some shocking energy being revealed here that we're feeling, definitely feeling like at conflict with our own selves. And then once we get that moon sextile Neptune very late in the day, it might actually be very, very early on January 3rd for some people, we'll have that opportunity for healing and spiritual integration. Okay. So that is all I have for you guys. Let me just pull a couple of cards and get an idea of what this Jupiter in Pisces will be like. Mercury in Aquarius, the new moon in Capricorn. I already see the King of Wands at the bottom. Oh. Okay. So on the bottom, we have the King of Wands. It was actually reversed. King of Wands reversed. So, sorry. Is that a lizard on there? Okay. It looks a little chaotic, I'm not going to lie, but something is kind of reeling it in and holding the whole thing steady. Let's see. So in the past, we have Death reversed, which I don't know, it's not always the best card to me to get reversed. And then we have the Five of Cups. This is really interesting. So Death reversed, it's almost like there was some kind of change and something that we had to let go of, but we just couldn't do it for whatever reason. It's almost like the grieving process is taking longer than expected, I would say. Something I figured out about this card, you know, obviously this is a card of like deep emotional stuff. I almost said something else. Dealing with some kind of loss, and it's cups is the Five of Cups. So it's very emotional. I just feel like deep grief. And there's like a castle in the background that kind of looks like a castle ruin in a way. So like something has been lost, you know, something deep, something that really hurt us emotionally has been lost. And there's like a bridge too, and you can kind of see like you probably can't see it because it's got this like glowy thing going on. In the river, there's like all these like different waves. You can see the waves and like everything in the cards is significant. So, and there's also a bridge going over that river. So I kind of like did a deep dive into this card at some point, and I was like, it reminds me of that song, Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel. It's all about exactly what it sounds like having hope and like finding peace and finding some kind of like inspiration even through difficult times, aka the bridge over troubled water. So what's interesting about that is I kind of dove into where that even came from, and apparently because it's very unlike Simon and Garfunkel's other songs, and I forgot who wrote it, but he was saying that that whole idea came to him like suddenly, like a very like Aquarius kind of thing. It just like went into his mind, and it was based off of like this old like biblical like Christian song that was like somewhat similar. I think that line might have been in the song. But it came to him in a very Aquarius way, which I thought was really interesting. So there's also like some kind of Aquarius connection, I think, to this card. Me personally, that's just what I think based on like that information and just what my intuition tells me. There's definitely like an Aquarius energy, especially with like the castle ruins. It might not be ruins, but to me, it looks like a ruined castle in the background. So, you know, the truth is hard. Seeing things for what they are rather than what we wanted them to be is difficult. And that grieving process is lasting a really long time, I think, for a lot of us. The Knight of Wands reversed in the present. in the past, whenever I would pull this card, Knight of Wands, not usually a card I want to see, especially reversed. It's just like a fire out of control, you know, the kind of fire that if not properly channeled can like destroy the whole village. That's how I see this. And then in the future, this is like a really weird reading, you guys. And I almost feel like I'm tapping into that Jupiter and Pisces a little too much because you know how Jupiter is, or how Pisces is. It's just dissolving everything. What's real, what isn't real, I don't know. The Three of Cups reversed in the near future. And the Emperor, which is the fourth major arcana card, which is ruled by Aries as well, because there's like the Aries ram head. And it's funny because like the way that the reading is set up, it's like he's kind of like side-eyeing like the whole, he's like side-eyeing the whole spread here. So the new beginning is going to come, you know, whether we want to change, whether we want to deal into those difficult emotions or not, you know, it's coming. We're going to have to rebirth ourselves anyway, because death always wins, right? In the end, we all die, and we have to die and let go of things and change and transform. The energy is very chaotic right now. Like I really feel that there's a lot of fire energy like floating around, which is strange because astrologically, I don't really know where that could be coming from. It could be that emphasis on Chiron still, especially with Aries here. There's some really deep stuff like coming up, like just, I still feel like we're like being gutted with Venus in retrograde. We need grounding and we need to let ourselves feel and heal for sure. This like death reverse in the past kind of worries me a little bit. I'm just going to pull a few more cards because, yeah, we're going to get stuck, I think. The Hanged Man came up, which to me is actually a really positive card. And then the World reversed. So be grateful for what you do have right now and the things that are going right for you. Because this little smug dude, he doesn't see what he has right in front of him. That's how I feel about this card. And then the Knight of Pentacles. You just got to give it time, because I think it's getting to the point now where like if you try to push forward in a direction that's not meant for you, you're going to get stuck, and like the universe or whatever you believe in is going to keep like tightening those vines around your feet so you can't go anywhere, because the growth is happening within, and you have to like sit with that and like let that happen. Okay, so that is all I have for you guys. Yay, happy new year. I will do, let's see, the moon in Capricorn will be in the morning on Sunday. I'll let you guys know what day I'm going to do the live. I'm thinking, oh no, Friday's New Year's Eve. I'll probably do it on the 1st, January 1st at 6 p.m. The day before, because you'll have plenty of time to get your ritual stuff together and plan what you want to do for that moon, if anything. Okay, so I'll see you then, and I love you guys, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Okay, bye.